You guys are seeming distracted today. Can we get your head in the game here? All right, so we're about to go over the quiz as soon as the Eno board is ready and fired up. And what we, I know you look at a day like today, it's a beautiful blue sky. It's been forever since it's been just warm and awesome out. And here you are stuck in a classroom. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, that the material that we're going to learn today, you never get another shot at learning. Now, I want to remind you of your most recent test grade. And I want to remind you that the test you take this Friday is going to be a harder version of it. So you have today's lesson, and you have tomorrow's lesson, and then the test. So what I would strongly recommend is that you bring your A game today. Put aside any thoughts of anything that's other than learning this material, so that when you master the material, you can kick butt on Friday's test, and then you can move on. You know, I just did your progress reports. And there were basically four comment codes that went in the progress reports. There were a couple of kids who were above 90. There were a lot of kids in the 80s. And then there were a lot of kids who were failing. Nobody in between. And when that happens, it usually means that the material is not that hard, and that those who are doing their work are getting good grades. And if you're not doing your work, then you're just not getting the grades. So if you do your work, you should do well Friday. I suggest you get focused. Matt, as far as the test that you missed goes, it's the same as with every other person. This time of year, there's so many tests, I'm not worried about it. I just take the average. It doesn't count, it doesn't anything. The way I have the program generated, it divides by the number of actual tests that you took, not how many I gave. Okay? All right, so let's go through here. We've actually been using combining like terms for most of the year. It's called same side, same operation. I distribute the 5, and then I notice I have 10 ends and negative 6 ends on the same side. Same side?
Same operation.
So that's 4 ends. Minus 15 is 2n plus 9. Opposite side?
Opposite operation.
Subtract the 2 ends. 2n minus 15 is 9. Add 15, and I come up with n is 12. On this problem, we're adding exponents. That gives me 5 to the third. Remember, keep that base the same. We're getting these right. We're doing really well. Get my a's together. That's 3a and 1a make 4a's. And 4b's and negative 8b's make negative 4b's. Over here, I purposely drew it so that I connected. The ones that are of the same type, the like terms. 2n squareds and 1n squareds, 3n squareds, 7n's and negative 9n. Stephen, is there an issue? Frankie, is there a problem? Frankie, I'm frustrated because you're starting to do this thing you do when it distracts others. Right? If you don't want to do the job, hopefully you do. Hopefully you really want to do the job. But if you don't want to do it and you don't want to pass, that's your business. But when you start dragging Stephen down with you, then it becomes my business. God bless. 7n's and negative 9n's make negative 2n's, and negative 1 and negative 2 make negative 3. So it's 3n squared minus 2n minus 3. Okay, any questions? No. All right, now we go to this guy. Multiply coefficients, add exponents. 4 times 7 is 28. Adding the exponents, I get 10 to the 9th. But what's the problem here?
It's
Greater than 10. Divide by 10, multiply by 10 to work it out. 2.8 times 10 to the 10th power. Any problems with that? Any issues? God bless you. All right, let's get out last night's homework. I'm going to let you take a look at the answers to number 2, and then I'll see if there's any you want to go over. Any issues? Any problems? God bless. Hey, Frankie, the next time you talk, you're gone. Any issues on number 2 at all? No? Okay. What's the big difference between number 2 here and then the types that looked almost the same on the quiz? There's a very important difference. If you're not catching on to this difference, you will get rocked on Friday's tests.
The plus,
What?
the plus sign distribute.
What about the plus sign?
Like the one is in negative this time.
Yeah, this is a subtract, so we got to turn it into a -1 and distribute. Very good. Okay? Now we'll look at these. Numbers 4 and 5. Take a look. Stephen. God bless you. Any issues on numbers 4 or 5? Okay, and now we get to what we've been learning about the last 2 days. In the course of learning for the last 2 days, what we've learned is this double distribute thing. I cover up or ignore the 9, distribute the x, I get x squared plus 3x. Then I cover up the x, distribute the 9, I get 9x and 27. And the big reveal over the last couple of days is that these guys in the middle can always be combined. So they add up to 12x. So I get x squared plus 12x plus 27. Likewise on B and C. Are there any issues, Frankie? Turn around again, talk again, you're gone. You're here to work. You're not here to distract people. Are we clear? Any problems? We're good? Okay, let's go to today's sheet then. And let's go over the do it for today's sheet. See how you're doing on these questions. There will be questions like all of these on Friday's test. So, if for any reason you're getting them wrong, you need to straighten them out and improve.
Yeah.
Then you game, right? Look, you're doing not any stuff. You know, no matter what you do in life, it's a constant series of trying your best, making mistakes, and then reflecting on where you made mistakes. And I have certain things that haunt me. Watching my dad die haunts me. Not the actual act when he was in the bed when he died. I was there for that too. But the years leading up to it. The years of watching him sitting at the kitchen table. I feel that he was very disappointed in his life. That he regretted a lot of the choices he made. Things he did, things he didn't do. I think the things you don't do cause more regret than the things you actually do for most people. Not everybody, but for most people. I mean, clearly if you go to jail, that's something you did. But a lot of people, when they get older, they look back and they say, you know, if I only would have done this, or if I only would have done that. My oldest boy, Bobby, he's a really good kid. He's got a great work ethic, but he didn't like school, and that's okay. That doesn't make him a bad kid. But he went to college. He went to college for 1 year, and he screwed it up. And after a year, we said, we're not going to give you any more money. And he one day confessed to me. He said that he thinks it was the worst decision of his life, that he didn't apply himself when he was in school. Because now, he fights, scratches, and claws. Yeah, he loves what he does, but he realizes he's a professional fisherman and he's also a carpenter. And he comes home at night, he's 28 years old, he comes home at night and everything hurts. His back hurts, his arms hurt, his legs hurt from the heavy type of work that he does. He thought that it would all be glory. He thought it would all be like, he came in 4th in the country in this marlin fishing tournament. And he thought it would all be like that. God bless you. And what he's realized is it's not all like that. That for that one moment of glory, there's all of this work that you do in the background. So he wishes that he would have pursued his path. He wanted to be a history teacher. He wishes he would have pursued his path to become a history teacher, and then done his fishing in the spare time. Yeah, it wouldn't have been as much fishing as he wanted to do, but it would have been a good amount of fishing, and at the same time, he would have had steady income. And his biggest problem in the career that he chose is he'll go 2, 3, 4 weeks without much money coming in. But rent is always due on the first. Rent doesn't care how many days you fished. Rent doesn't care if you're making, he'll look at himself and say, I deserve $200 a day as a carpenter. And they'll be offering him $125 a day. And he's like, but I'm worth more. And the truth is, he either has to go work for $125 or he doesn't work. If he doesn't work, he doesn't pay rent. If he doesn't pay rent, what does the landlord do? Kicks you out. He hasn't bought himself a new car yet. There's many avenues in his life where he's disappointed, and he looks at himself and he said, you know, it's what I didn't do. It's what I didn't do that frustrates me. When I look back on my own life, I say to myself, you know, there are certain decisions that I made that involved me not pursuing certain things. And I wish that I would have pursued those things, because I think things could have worked out in my advantage in some places. Well, you guys are sitting here like my son was, like I was, like the older people were. And sometimes the reason older people get so upset with you is because they see themselves in you. And they look at you and they say to themselves, God, don't do what I did. Oh my God, you're an idiot. I was an idiot. Don't do it. Don't. So, but rather than say that, because they don't want to admit to you that they're idiots when they were your age. That's right. Now, rather than admit that, which, congratulations. Rather than admit that, what they do is they yell at you. Because it's their anger coming out. It's their frustration coming out. You know, it's like the dad who takes his kid to a Little League game and starts screaming at his son because his son didn't hit a home run. The dad's like reliving his youth. The dad wishes he would have hit a home run. But instead he puts all the pressure on you. Not fair, not right. When you look back on your time in school, in about 8 or 10 years, you're either gonna say to yourself, you know what, I made the most of my opportunity, and now I'm really happy with the direction of my life. I'm really comfortable, I've made the right choices, I'm setting myself up for success. Or you're gonna look back at yourself and say, oh my God. Please, how stupid was I? And to further, in all honesty, look back on the work you did in 4th and 5th grade for a minute. Was it really that hard?
Yes.
And do you remember hating that too?
Yeah.
Remember like, oh my God, I can't stand this, I don't wanna do my homework, And you look back like, you brat. You're such a brat. I can't believe, come on, please. You really think it's that hard? Well, I make you a promise. When you're a junior or senior in high school, you're gonna look back on 8th grade and go, oh please, I wish it was 8th grade again. Oh, this is so easy by comparison. And then, when you become someone who owns a house and has to pay a mortgage, you're gonna say, all I want is a kid. Please, let me be a kid again. I don't wanna be an adult. This whole adult thing is not what it's cracked up to be. It's really, there's a lot of bad to the adult thing. All right, so let's see if we take advantage of the time, so we don't have to say that we messed up our decisions and our choices. Slope and y-intercept. First thing I have to do is get the y by itself, so I'll get rid of the x's. 2y equals 6x plus 90. Then I divide by 2, and I get y equals 3x plus 45. And though these numbers are ugly and big, what's the slope? What is it? I can't hear.
45?
No, slope.
3.
3. And what's the y-intercept?
5.
45. Good. Now, let's go to simplify. Let's get our like terms together. I look for my x squareds. I got 1x squared and negative 5x squared. How many x squareds, Melvin, do I have altogether? I have 1x squared and negative 5x squared. How many x squareds do I have altogether? Good. Negative 4x squared. Now, I have a positive 9x and a negative 4x. What's that altogether? Positive 5x. Now, some people like to say plus 5x. We all do. But just keep in mind, all we're saying is whether it's positive or negative. All right? And then, oh, what's a positive 7 and a negative 2?
Positive 5.
There we go. So my answer is negative 4x squared plus 5x plus 5. Next one, simplify. And this is your danger moment of the day. There's really a 1 in front here, and I distribute. Negative 2n squared plus 5n plus 9. Now notice, this is all before the package and the minus sign, so I don't change anything. Only afterward. Plus 3n squared plus 7n minus 2. Any questions? Now let's put it all together. Negative 2n squared plus 3n squared is 1n squared. 5n's and 7n's is 12n's. 9 and negative 2 makes 7. So it's n squared plus 12n plus 7. If you got all three of those questions right, it bodes very well for Friday's test. If you got any part of any one of them wrong, then that means you need to do some serious improvement before the test.
I'm
Alex?
gonna put 1 and 2. 1 and 2 instead of
1 n squared?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you could. It's a little tacky, kind of like wearing plaids and polka dots, but we're okay, we can do it.
Okay.
Girls understood that. Alex
Yeah.
obviously has no sense of fashion. All right, obviously, okay.
Call me out.
Now, let's do, on your paper, the double distribute questions, numbers 1, 2, and 3. Let's see you do numbers 1, 2, and 3. Actually, just do 1 and 2, and I'll go over them with you. Numbers 1 and 2. Matt, head in the game. Alex, face forward. Chris, head in the game, right? Let's look a little less comfortable, a little more focused. Please don't do the double distribute on number 3. I want to make sure that you understand 1 and 2 before you go forward to 3. Jamie, let's work. Okay. So let's double distribute. Ready? Cover up the 2, distribute the 3x. That gives me 3x squared
Oh, squared.
plus 15x.
We always have to put squared.
Oh, yeah. X times x is x squared. Doesn't 5 squared mean 5 times 5?
Yeah.
So then 5 times 5 means 5 squared. Likewise, x times x means x squared. Now, cover up the 3x. What kind of 2? Distribute the 2. Plus 2x plus 10. These will always be combinable under these circumstances. 3x squared plus 17x plus 10. Any questions? Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Distributing the x. What's x times x again, everybody? X times 7? And I got a little casual with that, that's a positive 7. Now, let's do, what kind of 5?
5x.
Positive 5 times x is?
5x.
And 5, no, just 5 times x is 5x. It's gotta be x times x to be x squared. And 5 times 7 is? 35, good. These will always be combinable. So that gives me x squared plus 12x plus 35. Any questions?
No.
Good, try the next one.
Wait, wouldn't it be 8x? X to, oh wait, never mind.
X squareds are different than x's. So the x squared goes by itself, then 7x's and 5x's combine to make 12x's, and then the 35 stays by itself. Remember, we can only add or subtract things that are of the same type, and an x squared is a different type of thing than an x. Just like, for argument's sake, a lacrosse player is different than a baseball player. 3 lacrosse players and 3 lacrosse players are 6 lacrosse players. 3 lacrosse players and 3 baseball players are just 3 lacrosse players and 3 baseball players. All right, so, first, I like to say this step all the time. Mentally, I cover up or ignore the positive 3. It's called double distribute because I distribute both of them, and they each have their own term. Since the 2x comes first, I distribute the 2x. Now, the order really doesn't matter, I just think it becomes more practical this way. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. Good. Now I cover up the 2x, I distribute the positive 3. Positive 3 times x is 3x. Positive 3 times negative 5 is? They will always be combinable in the middle. 2x squared minus 7x minus 50. Any questions?
Nope.
All right, do the last two.
Wait, so it's pretty much just like, instead of positive 5, it would be negative 5?
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a negative 5. James, work. Remember, the whole point behind everything that we're learning this week is to try to prepare you for the high school. Okay, we have lessons this week like that, and then next week also to prepare you for the high school, and then after that, we're going to do just final exam review.
And so you're potentially going to high school next year?
You know, it's funny, I sat in a meeting fourth period, the whole period, talking about whether or not I'd be at the high school next year. I'm not sure how it's gonna work out. What I need to do,
Relax.
you should understand, I love it here. I'm very, very comfortable here. And I know that if I stay here, I'll be very comfortable for my last year of teaching. To go to the high school, there has to be something that makes it worth my while. And that is a true statement, but I do love pretty much every kid who comes through the door. So I'm gonna love next year's kids too. The big thing is, what exactly I would be doing up there and how it would all work out. And if it works out in the right way, then I'm willing to go. But if it doesn't work out in the right way, I would be a fool to go. So, we will see. Remember what I said about making decisions and how you learn? Right? Money is a biggie. When you go to retire for a pension, the average amount of money you make over your last 3 years, for the most part, is what you're gonna make for the rest of your life. Well, a fraction of that, not all of it. So I wanna make sure I take care of me for the rest of my life. Okay, very quickly. This guy is x squared minus 12x plus 32. Hasta la vista, vaya con Dios, toodaloo, ta-ta, arrivederci, smile a lot. Ciao, arrivederci, adios amigos, y amigas. Cheerio, garusharus, gadafis, shalom. Yes. Can you put it over by the pencil sharpeners over there on the way out? Thanks. Appreciate it.